Dear Diary. Well, Teddy, it's time to get ready for the Premiership, but not at Banbridge Town. I've been to a few job interviews over the off-season, and there's one that I just couldn't turn down. My first game in charge of them is going to be in Conference League qualifying. How could I say no to that? It's been a blast here. 3 trophies in 2 seasons and back-to-back promotions, but we were favoured to finish bottom of the league in the Prem, so this feels like a good move. Hopefully whoever moves into this place takes care, Teddy. Provided the new team pay me enough to rent a house. Otherwise, this is awkward. Anyway, looks like it's time for the next stop on this OE. Until next time. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 19 of FMOE here on Shaun Does FM, and no longer is it going to be with Banbridge Town, as you would have been able to tell by the intro. So today we are going to join our new club and also just get settled in there a little bit, as well as have a quick look at what we are leaving behind here at Banbridge. So if you are looking forward to joining our second club of the save, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. So we need to explain a few reasons here why we are leaving Banbridge Town, and it probably starts off with the fact we have been given 3 job interviews over the off season. We'll run through all 3 of them and explain our decision making, why we are going to be leaving things here at Banbridge Town, the first team who did offer us a job interview over the off-season off the back of us securing promotion to the Premiership at the end of last week. If you missed that episode, I'll leave a link to it in the top right corner. But the first club to offer us a job interview were Ards. This one was quite quick and easy to deal with. They were the team that finished 10th in the Championship last season, just outside of a relegation spot. Obviously, with us being at Banbridge Town going up to the Premiership, we told these guys to kindly go and get stuff, so that one was a nice and easy one to start off the off-season. But off the back of that, things got a little bit more interesting with the next job interview that we were offered, and we did actually attend this one for Warren Point Town. They were a team which just managed to stay up in the Premiership last season, finishing outside of a spot which would have seen them play in a relegation playoff. If you're wondering how that did end up going, Lochgale did defeat Dergview, but from there could not get the job done against the team which did finish second bottom in the Premiership. So rather harshly, Lochgale are still down in the Championship this season. But Warren Point Town, a little bit more of a transfer budget than we did have on offer at Banbridge Town for our first season in the Premiership. A little bit of a higher reputation club as well. And also, season preview-wise, predicted to finish just a little bit higher than us. Obviously, sometimes a season preview is not worth reading a lot into, but with a higher wage budget, and it did look like we might be lambs to the slaughter a little bit in the Premiership, it was a job that I was considering, but they never actually got back to us in terms of offering us the job, because then a third team did have a job become available. We applied for that job, and they also gave us an interview a couple of hours off the back of that application, so I dare say we might have been the front runner for that job anyway. And that team is the one we are going to. It is Linfield, one of the bigger teams here in Northern Ireland, and it does look like a job which really is too good to turn down. Having a quick look at the reasons why we are going to be joining these guys and leaving Banbridge Town, the most notable one in terms of on-pitch stuff is the fact they are predicted to finish in first place in the league. Banbridge Town all the way down bottom. It does look like a significant upgrade, and one that is worth making. Also, they are going to be in Europe this season in Conference League qualifying, and it will be the first match that we do have in charge there as well, Conference League qualifying, which is something nice and exciting as well. So that's a few draws there in favour of Linfield to begin with. Going along with that, they are a fully professional club, so that does mean that we can train our players every day of the week and start to develop them a little bit more. That might be a good reason to try and bring Sean Quinn over with us from Banbridge Town, because of course he was a player who came for our youth intake last season and did look very, very promising, better general facilities, professional club, one of the biggest stadiums in Northern Ireland, in Windsor Park. I think that's the stadium where the national team does play as well. It's in Belfast, so in terms of an actual OE, it's a bigger city to go to, so we can experience some new fun times when we are not managing the team. And if we go back to the job offer that we have had from them off the back of the interview, they actually have a transfer budget, £19,000 wage. That is way more than we did have on offer to us at Banbridge Town. Also, they are going to offer us a wage of around about £1,200 a week. That is 3 times what we were earning at Banbridge Town. So with all that stuff in mind, we are going to be leaving Banbridge Town and taking over the favourites for the Premiership this upcoming season in Northern Ireland. A quick look at Banbridge Town yet again before we do accept this job offer. 2 really good seasons here at the club, getting them up from the 3rd tier in Northern Ireland, where they were expected to be down towards relegation, winning back-to-back promotions and getting them up to the Premiership. But as you saw before, season preview-wise, this would have been a tough old season, and also we are a little bit weaker in terms of some players missing. Jay McDowell, it was our star player from last season. He is actually at Linfield, so when we do accept that job, we can have a look at the squad and see how he does stack up compared to the rest of that Linfield squad, and it should give you guys a good idea of the talent that we had on offer at Banbridge Town, where he was a 5-star player compared to what he is going to be rated at Linfield. So something interesting there will give us a good gauge on what our best players at Banbridge Town would have looked like in that Linfield team, which we are going to take over. Obviously, the one disappointment with leaving Banbridge Town initially is the fact that we can't track Sean Quinn early doors, but with that transfer budget that we do have at Linfield, we certainly could sign him, and as I said, it might actually be a good idea to take him there and see how he does develop at a fully professional club. But we did have a great time at Banbridge Town with those back-to-back promotions, but this job offer that we have had from Linfield does look too good to turn down, so it is time for us to get in to the negotiations. You can see they want to hire us for 2 years. That is a decent bit of stability for the best ranked club in the Northern Irish Premiership. Here at Linfield, we might actually get them to try and bump our wage up just a little bit, as that could help us in terms of trying to find somewhere to stay, of course, in Belfast. And we've been able to bump that up just a little bit to £1,400 a week. So the only thing to do before we do finalise this deal, I know this is coming this time because editing Shaun pulled one on me in the first episode of the save, but it's time to go house hunting with Shaun. So we've made our way back over to propertypal.com. This is definitely not sponsored. No way that a website like this would sponsor some random bloke doing Football Manager videos from New Zealand. But early doors we can see here for a apartment with 1 bedroom, because we don't need any more than that. That's just being greedy. But you can see in terms of the price, we are going to be absolutely fine trying to find some accommodation with our £1,400 a week. So that is a nice start here. We can pretty much take our pick of any of these apartments, and down the bottom here, some quite fancy looking outfits here, which do look like they are called Leslie Parklands. We'll go and have a look at these ones. It is £850 a week, but it does look quite swanky. It does look like it reflects our step up in the management world here at Linfield. It does look quite new as well, which is always nice. Lots of chairs in the lounge, which is always useful, so we can get on the laptop and do a bit of research. Nice TV screen there as well to keep an eye out on all of the games. A little bit roomy, decent little kitchen area as well in case I do feel like cooking up a meal, and a few wine glasses as well so we can get on the booze if we do pick up some wins, which no doubt is going to happen at a club like Linfield. So just going forward a little bit further, that's concerning though. There's not much space at all between the heater and the bed, so I don't like that. I usually have my feet just come off the edge of the bed. Also, that headboard looks pretty ugly as well, so I'll just see if we can find something a little bit better and a little bit roomier in terms of the bedroom. Otherwise, we might still be looking for a house here in Belfast. And we've managed to find a different apartment in the exact same building. Actually like the way that this one's laid out, a little bit more with the kitchen a little bit further down from the lounge. Also, £25 a month cheaper than that one with no legroom was. As I said before, things are spread out a little bit more. It's quite narrow, but still do quite like the fact that the kitchen is a little bit further away from the lounge when we do want to focus on our football managing. And as you can see, this one does still have that ugly headboard, but there's actually just a little bit more room at the end of the bed so we can actually get around the bed and don't have to try and jump over it and do some stepbrother type of stuff. So I think this is going to be the apartment that we take here in Belfast. Obviously, we can definitely afford this with our £1,400 a week and the fact this only costs us £825 a month. And with that in mind, it is time for us to accept that job offer and make our move to Linfield. And here we go. Here's the club introduction to Linfield. As you can see, plenty of heated debate apparently for the fact that we have left divisional rivals in Banbridge Town. If they do have a look at the season preview, maybe they would understand why we did make that move. But as you can see, Clifford Adams apparently was considered to be the favourite for the job. But obviously we were quite highly regarded going into this job. That is probably why they did give us an interview pretty much right off the back of us applying for this job. There you can see a club with lots of history here in Northern Ireland. Plenty of trophy wins. So definitely this is a big step up from what we did have at Banbridge Town, as well as the fact, of course, that they are a fully professional club. Their fierce rivals are Glentoran, so that is going to be interesting when we take those guys on throughout the course of this upcoming premiership season. And in the cup competitions, it looks like with the squad available to us from the get-go, a 4-4-2 is the most appropriate system that suits us down to the ground. We can pretty much just bring over the formation that we were using at Banbridge Town and maybe just change a few things to reflect the fact that we are now at a team which is expected to be winning the top division here in Northern Ireland. In terms of the club expectations for us, work within the wage budget, grow the club's reputation, sign players under the age of 23 for the first team, albeit that one is only favoured. Other things they want us to do: 1-year contracts for players over 34 and minimum 2-year contracts for first team players, albeit yet again that one only favoured. They want us to be competitive in the Conference League. That is going to be a little bit interesting with those games coming up quite early in terms of our time in charge here at Banbridge Town. And also they want us to do decently in most of the cup competitions, but that is not as important as us challenging for the Premiership title. Last year they did not win that. That was won by Larne, so hopefully we can get back on top of Northern Irish football in charge of Linfield here, and at the end of next season they definitely want us to win that premiership and also bring home a domestic cup. I'd like to think we might be able to do that this season, and that is when our contract does expire. But if we do what we want to do here at Linfield, hopefully it will happen before then, and we might have pretty much conquered all of Northern Ireland by that stage anyway. There you can see the club vision and the supporter expectations: become the most reputable team in Northern Ireland, win the premiership, finish above Glentoran and Cliftonville, and also challenge for the title. Two of those kind of conflict with each other, it is fair to say, but nonetheless the fans do expect us to be in a title hunt here in the premiership, and we go forward a little bit more and we'll just get through all of this boring stuff that I'll deal with off camera. And there is the confirmation of the move. We are now at Linfield. A quick look at the supporter profile of the club. Obviously, this club with a much bigger following than we did have back at Banbridge Town. 36,500 social media followers, and the supporters have a bit more influence on the board as well, with that being moderate, and 800 season ticket holders at Windsor Park, which can hold around about 18,000 people at capacity, and there's a fair chunk of core fans as well. So this is going to be interesting times as we take over the team who are predicted to finish on top of the premiership. So we'll just go forward and plug in that 4-4-2 and see what our best 11 does look like going into this upcoming season quickly. And having plugged in the 4-4-2, which we pretty much were using back at Banbridge Town, we have actually left off the be more disciplined instruction. I think that's something we might be able to do without here at a team like Linfield being the favourites for the premiership. But on the whole, this looks like quite a decent squad. We could potentially improve in defence, especially on that right-hand side. But apart from that, this is a pretty good looking squad that we do have available here at Linfield. Obviously that's the case, otherwise they would not be favourites for the Premiership. And to remind you guys, we do have a £400,000 transfer budget and just over £1,000 in wage as well, albeit that could be adjusted if we do find some players who can improve the squad for free transfers. We could just shift all of that transfer money over to the wage budget. But I suppose the best way for us to explain how much better this squad at Linfield is than Banbridge Town, we of course have Jay McDowell here. He was the player of the year last season at Banbridge Town. He came in on loan and started for us as an advanced forward. He was around about the 4.5-star current ability, 5-star ability mark there at Banbridge Town. Here at Linfield, he is only rated at 2.5 stars. So that shows just how much better that this Linfield squad is than what was available to us at Banbridge Town. He might get a little bit of game time off of the bench, especially because he is a player who does not need to be registered for the Premiership. That is something which we do need to keep in mind up in the top division of Northern Ireland. You can only register 20 players over the age of 21 up in this top tier, but Jay McDowell, being 18 years old, could be a useful squad player, being under that 21-year-old threshold. But certainly, I think it's fair to say we would have struggled at Banbridge Town in comparison to the squad that was available to us here at Linfield. So I think based on that, we have made a pretty good decision in jumping ship, and hopefully we can make it 3 straight league titles here at Linfield to go alongside the 2 that we did win at Banbridge Town and get these guys back on top of Northern Irish football. But as I said, having a quick look at this squad, I'll have a bit more of a look off camera before we do come back for our first game in charge in tomorrow's episode. But early doors, this does look like quite a good, promising squad, and we'll have a bit of a deeper look at our best 11 before we do play the first game here at our new club in tomorrow's episode. And also, in terms of Sean Quinn, who I would like to bring over from Banbridge Town, he was around about the same current ability and potential as Jay McDowell, so I think that's a good sign of what Sean Quinn would look like here at Linfield. Probably a player still worth getting, especially at the age of 15/16 years old, and with all that potential, and also being another player who would be homegrown nation for European assignments, as well as the fact that he would fit in as a non-registered player in the domestic competitions as well. So we still might go after Sean Quinn from Banbridge Town, although whether we loan him straight back to them for this first season, that could be something which we do also consider. But I think that will do it for our first move of the save, leaving Banbridge Town for Linfield. And based on the look of Jay McDowell in the squad on those reports, I think it was a fair enough move going to Belfast to take over the favourites for the Premiership. So if you did enjoy today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you're looking forward to our time here at Linfield, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. Tomorrow we are going to come back for our first games in charge here at Linfield, and they are in the first round of Conference League qualifying, so there's no easy steps here at Linfield. We enter European football for the first time in the save. Actually, haven't heard the Conference League anthem, and with the Conference League being one of the UEFA competitions which is licensed in Football Manager this season, that could be something which is interesting come tomorrow's episode. And it looks like we are taking on a team called Sumkait, I believe is how you might say that one. Might have absolutely butchered that. And they are a team from Azerbaijan, similar reputation to us here at Linfield. So hopefully we can get off to a good start in Conference League qualifying and see where we go from there, if we can sneak our way into the group/league stages of that competition. So that is what is coming up in tomorrow's episode, our first games in charge of Linfield in Conference League qualifying. And until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.